Hi class, so good day everyone, good day class. So before we begin, so I hope everyone is safe right now. I know we've been facing a lot of problems, labi na sugod sa linog, and then giagian pa dyan tag typhoon, mga ongoing aftershocks. Still hope na you take care of yourself good, ha? And please take time to recover. Okay, so let's move forward to this most thrilling part sa calculus, which is all about the application of derivatives. So I think this will be our first discussion after the midterms, di ba? This is our first mid-side after our midterms, and supposedly mag face-to-face on tatag klase karon, but because of the typhoon and grabe kayo og damage na na-brought sa toa, ako na lang gihimuan sa YouTube channel para sa uban nga galiso jud og access if mag online meet ta karon, di ba? So let's start with the first part sa application of derivatives. Okay, so we will start with the slope of a curve. We also have the tangent line or the equation of our tangent line, and we also have the equation of our normal line. Okay? Okay, let's start with the slope of a curve. Diba if we draw a curve, let's say we have here an xy plane. Sana ba yung straight? Let's say, straight na. Let's say we have a function of quadratic, so meaning ato ang curve ani is more like naka-concave up. Diba if makuha ta og slope ani nga curve, diba duha ka klase ato ang makuha nga slope? Simply the slope of our second line, if we connect two distinct points, let's say we have a point here, x sub 1, and then a point here, x sub 2, so meaning makakreate tag line dere. And this line is what you call a second line. Second line. And nasa tagingon og gitawag og tangent line, which is another slope ani nga curve asa man brush. Tara. Let's say na diri ato ang point. Exactly one point or an instant point. So at this point, mo na to ang gitawag og tangent line. Okay. Now, the question is, unsa man ang first derivative ani? Is it the slope of our second line or is the slope of our tangent line? So ato nang taruhon. So di ba if mingon tag second line, we are getting the average rate of that function. It's because 2 points ato ang ginatanaw. So meaning nagkuha tag average nga rate sa duha ka point or the average rate of change. So di ba equation of a slope is simply m is equals to change of y over change of x, di ba? And this is just simply the slope of your second line, which is change of y, which is diri ang y x sub 2 and then y sub 2, and this will be the x sub 1 and y sub 1. So meaning kung mingon ta og slope of a second line, mo ning gitawag natog average rate of change. Ay, di na di maklaro dira, sorry. Okay, naog sa ubos. Okay. Average rate of change or just equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So meaning, ikuha ninyo ang slope from two distinct points. But that is not the first derivative of your function. Kaya again, recall from your basic definition of derivative, katong kuhaon na to ang limit of this curve, limit of this change of y over change of x as change of x approaches to 0. This will be your instantaneous rate of change, or equal to the first derivative of the function. So meaning, kaniya tong gihimo nga tangent line diri, or the slope of this tangent line is your first derivative of the function. Okay? So unsa may kalaian ug mingon tag average rate of change o kaning instantaneous rate of change? Unsa jud ay difference na nila? Di ba? Ato nang klarohon, let's have a real world nga example. For example, natay sakyanan diri. Okay, so from Cebu City, let's say ganahan siya moadto og Bugo City, and ang iyahang speed is, let's say, is a function of a quadratic, let's say x squared. And then at this point to this point, i-travel siya og 100 kilometers at exactly I mean, namalite function rin, so meaning if you have a function meaning from rest 0 seconds or 0 hour, nabot siya sa Bugo City for 9 hours. So from diri nga point to this point, nabot siya at exactly 9 hours. Notice, if you draw a curve ani nga function, di ba quadratic man siya, so meaning inani niyang curve. So from 0 to 9, let's say diri ato ang 9. So meaning makakreate ta og second line, di ba? And notice, at exactly 9 hours, wala pa takabawon sa iyang y. So meaning ato ni siyang i-substitute to that function. Tama? Now, notice, if mukuha ta sa iyang average speed, di ba simply average speed, or the average rate of change of that function is simply change of y over change of x, or simply change of the distance over the change of time, diba? So notice from this graph, ang change of y niya is nag-start siya from this point to this, from this point to this point. So meaning ang fx sub 2 i-minus na to with fx sub 1 all over change of x is simply from this point to this point, x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now, atong i-substitute. Atong x sub 2 is 9. We have x sub 1 equals to 0 and x sub 2 equals to 9. Because at this point, x sub 1 man and this will be your x sub 2. Now, i-substitute na to. We have x squared. 9 squared is 81 minus fx sub 1, simply 0. And x sub 2 na to is 9 and x sub 1 na to is 0. So we have here 81 divided 9 is simply 9 km per hour. May paspas. So unrealistic siya nga, hiner kayo. Hiner ba? Hiner dito. Unrealistic kayo siya nga example, no? So let's have this kind of example lang for para masabtang na sa ninyo ba sa difference between average rate of change and instantaneous. Now, Kung ingon siya tag instantaneous speed, lahi sad siya sa gitawag na tog average speed. Kung ingon kag instantaneous speed, gitan-aw ninyo ang inyuhang speed at that exactly 1 point. So makita ninyo sa inyong speedometer, for example, at third hour or the ika 3 hours, pila may speed ninyo, di ba? Di man na makuha by getting the average speed lang. That is what you call the instantaneous speed or the instantaneous rate of change, or simply the first derivative of your function. Or simply, so my first derivative is simply, if natay f of x equals to x squared, so f prime of x is simply 2x, and let's say atong gipangita is ang instantaneous speed at exactly third hour, which is x equals to 3. So meaning, ato rin substitute, which is f prime of 3 is equals to 2 times 3. So we have here 6 kilometer per hour na instantaneous speed at exactly the third hour sa pagdagan sa tuwang sakyanan. So that is the difference of average speed and instantaneous speed, or gitawag na itong average rate of change or instantaneous rate of change. So kung yung average speed, the speed between two distinct points, and yung instantaneous speed, it is your speed at exactly 1 point. Okay? So that is the difference between them. Okay? Okay. Now, let's have an example. So, meaning ha, kaning instantaneous rate of change, or pilit na ito gitawag og m pod, m of your tangent line, or the slope of your tangent line is just equal to the first derivative of your function. Okay? Okay, let's have an example. Okay, let's have an example. First example. First example. Find the slope of the tangent line to the curve 2x cubed y squared minus 5x squared y is equals to 18 at the point 1 and 2. So we know that we have to get the slope of the tangent line, which is, if we want the slope of the tangent line, it is to get the first derivative of that function. So if we have a function of 2x cubed y squared minus 5x squared y equals to 18 at exactly at point 1, 2. So to get the slope of the tangent line, you get the first derivative of this function. But notice, this is implicit differentiation. So meaning, i-differentiate nila to siya from left, from every term. So simply, i-differentiate na to. The ring apart is simply mag-product rule, which is dv plus vdu. So 2x cubed, copy, and then derive y squared, which is 2y, then tuparan to y prime, plus i-copy na to si y squared, and then differentiate 2x cubed, which is 6x squared, because 3 times 2 is 6, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. So minus, ay kalimti ang parenthesis para i-simplify later on, dili na siya malimtan ang mga negative na sign. Okay? Okay, now, i-copy si 5x squared, and then differentiate y, which is simply y prime. Or differentiate ni y is 1, and then copy y prime, or tuparan y prime. Plus, copy si y, and then differentiate 5x squared, which is 10x, equals to the derivative of a constant, which is simply 0. Okay, now, tanang na ay y prime or dy dx ibilin sa left, and tanang walay y prime is ibutang na to sa right side. Okay? Okay, now, at sa ni-simplify, we have here 2x cubed, or kanisa multiply the rate, we have here 4x cubed y y prime plus 6x squared y squared minus 5x squared y prime plus or minus kikanin siya ay atong maning ibalhin po diri or atong i-distribute. We have here negative 10x y equals to 0. Now katong gingon ganina tanang na y prime ibilin sa left, so tanang na walay y prime ibutang sa right. So we have here 4x cubed y prime minus 5x squared y prime is equals to 6x squared y squared minus minus di ay tapos plus diri kaya ito mong ibalhin sa right side, di ba? And plus 10x y. Okay, now atong i-factor out atong y prime, so we have here y prime multiplied by 4x cubed y minus 5x squared equals to negative x squared y squared plus 10xy. So divide both sides, 4x cubed y minus 5x squared, and then divide sides sa ito ang pikas na side, 4x cubed y minus 5x squared, then cancel. So ang nabili na to is simply y prime is equals to negative 6x squared y squared plus 10xy all over 4x cubed y minus 5x squared. So ato tumalikon, we have to find the slope of the tangent line at the point 1, 2. So kung nakuha na ito nga first derivative, i-substitute na ito ang point 1, 2. So simply y prime or the slope of your tangent line is equal to negative 6. Ato lang ilaw sa calculus. We have the calculus at the right side. So negative 6. Substitute na to ang x, or if para dili na ta maglibog pwede ta mag alpha x ani, tapos later on ato lang i-substitute or gitawag na to caltex sa para dili na mo magbalik-balik pa og input. So alpha y squared plus 10 alpha x alpha y all over 4 alpha x cubed and then alpha y minus 5 alpha x squared, and then calculate pila matong x which is 1, and then atong y which is 2, and then equate na to, we have here x equals to negative 4/3. So that will be our slope of the tangent line. So tanaw na to na ba? So naa letter D. Okay, so simply the slope of the tangent line is the first derivative of your function, then i-substitute na to ang given points. Okay, let's have now example number 2. So kato ganina murag libog-libog to nga example kay ga implicit differentiation ta, pero karon let's have an example nga dili lang siya implicit differentiation. So we have here y equals to x cubed minus 2x plus 1 at exactly, or at x equals to 1. So we have to find the slope of the tangent line. So again, to find the slope of the tangent line, you have to differentiate first the function. So y prime is equals to 3x squared minus 2, and the derivative of 1 is simply 0. And substitute at exactly x equals to 1, we have y prime equals to 3 1 squared minus 2. So y prime is simply 1 squared is 1, 3 is equals to 1. So therefore, the slope of the tangent line is simply equals to 1. So the answer is 1. Okay? Now, let's proceed on how do we get the equation of tangent line and the normal line. So again, natutong balikon ganina ang katong gitawag na to tangent line. Diba, yung mga tag-tangent line, let's say we have here a curve, say a quadratic curve lang gihapon. Let's have an xy plane, and we have here a quadratic curve. So tangent line is your first derivative, or the slope of the tangent line is your first derivative of the function. Tama? Now, how do we get the equation of this tangent line? Knowing that kabaw na taon sa pagkuha sa slope and nadyo na siya given exactly one point. Diba? For example, katong ganina, at this point, nasa given nga 1 and 2. So, meaning natay point nga given, and then we have to find the slope. And once we have the point and the slope, we can create an equation of a line. Diba? So this will be our tangent line. Para tumara straight. Say this is our tangent line. Now, how do we get the equation of this tangent line? Okay. So, recall from your standard forms equation sa line. Diba naman tayo gitawag og point slope, nasa tay two intercept forms, nasa tay slope intercept, and nasa tay 2-point form, diba? So now, given the slope og ang atoang point, unsa may pwede natong gamiton? Diba simply the point slope form? Tama? So from given a point and a slope, let's say for example, we have a point here, x1, y sub 1, and then we have a slope of our tangent. Simply, by getting the point slope form, we have to substitute it from y minus y sub 1 is equals to m x minus x sub 1. So, nakarecall pa mo ani. Basta natay point, kay naman tayo x sub 1 ug y sub 1, and we have a slope para makuha na tong equation of a line. And remember, the general equation of a line is simply ax plus by plus c equals to 0, where a, b, and c are constants and x and y are your variables. Okay, now let's have an example para makuha na tong equation sa tangent line. Example number 1. Okay, let's have an example number 3. Okay, determine the equation of the line tangent to the graph y equals to 2x squared plus 1 at the point 1, 3. So now, diba, in getting the equation of a tangent line, diba, simply y minus y sub 1 equals to m x minus x sub 1. Knowing that we have y sub 1 and x sub 1, which is the given 1 and 3, but we don't have the slope of our tangent line. So meaning, we have to get the first derivative of the function, and then ato na siyang substitute ani nga equation. Okay? So y is equals to 2x squared plus 1 at 1, 3. So meaning, to get the slope, we have to get the first derivative. Y prime is equals to derivative of 2x squared is simply 4x, and the derivative of 1 is simply 0. And then substitute 1 and 3 at 1, 3, simply y prime is equals to 4 times 1. Kaya waman tayo given nga y pod or y sa ato ang function. So meaning 1 ratong gamiton diri. So we have here 4 times 1 is simply 4, or the slope of our equation or of our tangent line. So meaning now we have our slope and we have our point, so we can utilize this formula. So meaning y minus atong y sa buwan is 3, and ato ang slope now is 4, and then copy x minus ang x sa buwan nato is the given 1. So basic algebra, we have to distribute it or simplify na to. We have 4 times x, 4x, and 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. And then rearrange, we have here from general equation, di ba ang general equation is ax from the equation of ax plus by plus c equals to 0. So meaning ato yun siyang i-rearrange na mahimo siyang inaning equation. So we have here ibalisin nato dito. So we have here y minus 4x minus 3 plus 4. Kaya kanyung negative 4 ibalhin man nato sa left side. So we have here equals to 0. Now ato pang i-simplify, we have here of y minus 4x, negative 3 plus 4 is simply positive 1 equals to 0. And then to make it okay lang ni siya ang answer, but to make it nga masame sa ato ang equation or general equation, iuna na to ang x na to nga mahimo siyang positive. So we have to multiply negative 1 para lang ma-positive niya tong negative 4x. So we have here 4x, negative 1 times y is negative y, and negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1 equals to 0. So this will be your equation of that tangent line. Okay? Di ba naman nga red? So very basic ka kayo. Okay, let's have another example. Ngita na sa ta. Okay, example number 4. So example number 4. Okay, find the equation of the tangent to the curve y equals to x plus 2x raised to 1/3 through point 8 to 12. Now, we have to find the equation of the tangent to the curve. So meaning, use ta itong standard form nga y minus y sub 1 equals to mx minus x sub 1. So given a point or given this point, we have to find the slope para makuha ta sa equation sa tangent line. Okay? So to get the slope of the tangent, you have to differentiate the function y equals to x plus 2x raised to 1 over 3 at through point 8, 12. So meaning, first we have to get the first derivative. The derivative of x simply 1 plus derivative of 2x raised to 1/3. Kaning 1/3 atong i-multiply sa 2, we have here 2/3, and then x 1/3 minus 1, 1/3 minus 1, or simply negative 2/3. Diba? 1/3 minus 1 is negative 2/3. And then substitute 8, 12 to this function. So wala man tayo y, so ato rin i-substitute ang 8. So we have here 1 plus 2/3, and then ang x na to is 8, and then raised to negative 2 over 3. So y prime is simply, or our slope of our tangent line is simply, kailangan natin na i-calculate. Wait. We have here 1 plus 2/3, then multiply by 8 raised to negative 2 over 3. So we have here 7 over 6. Okay, Now, nakuha na nato ang slope na natay point, so kuha na ta sa atong equation sa ato ang tangent line. So we have here y minus y sub 1 is 12, and then ang slope is 7 over 6, and then we have x sub 1 is equals to 8. Okay, so simplify, dapat mawala na ni siya fraction, so atong i-cross multiply dito, so may mo na siyang 6 times y minus 12, and then bilin si 7x minus 8. Diba? Simple algebra na siya ha. So we have to distribute 6 dari dapita and distribute 7 dari dapita. So we have here 6y minus 12 times 6 is 72. Tama ba? 12 times 6 is we have 72, negative 72, and then 7 times x is 7x, and 7 times 8 is 4 times 7 times 8 is 56 minus 56. Grabe gi-calculate gyapon. So atong i-transpose nga general equation na siya. So we have here 7 negative 7x plus 6y, and then negative 72 plus 56 equals to 0. So we have here negative 7x plus 6y, and then negative 72 plus 56 is simply negative 16 equals to 0. To make it nga positive sa side sa x, so we have to multiply by negative 1 both sides. So mahimo na siyang 7x, negative 1 times 6y is negative 6y, and then negative 1 times negative 16 is positive 16 equals to 0. So that will be the equation tangent to the curve. So letter, so many letters, 7x minus 6y plus 16, letter A. Okay, now another is arinaw sadta sa itong gitawag og normal line, normal to the curve or normal line of our curve. Okay, so balik ko na to itong ganina, asa man to, continue ta sa to, tara kapihon lang ni na to. Let's change it to normal line. Okay, normal line. Okay, so let's talk about the normal line. So when tag normal line is just perpendicular to your tangent line, or ilang included angle between this line to this line is 90 degree. Okay, so this will be your normal line or normal to the curve. Now since this is our normal line, how do we get the equation of our normal line? Simple ra kayo. To get the equation or the equation of the line of our normal line, we just use the same formula, pero ang slope lang ilahang nakalahi. So knowing that to get the equation of the tangent line, we have to get the first derivative, which is m slope equals to f prime of x. But ang slope sa normal line or normal to the curve is just simply the reciprocal or the negative reciprocal of the slope of your tangent. So for example, yung mga slope nakuha is let's say 4, positive 4. So your slope of normal line is simply negative 1 over 4. Example lang niya. Okay, let's have problem solving na example para mas maklaro. Okay, let's have example number 5. So find the equation of the normal to x squared plus y squared equals to 5 at the point 2, 1. So again, we have to find the first derivative of your function, and to get the first derivative, since this is implicit differentiation, so you have to differentiate every term. So simply, derivative of x squared is simply 2x, and derivative of y squared is simply 2y, y prime. Whereas with respect to x is y prime. Is equals to, derivative of 5 is simply 0. And then, ibili na to ang mga na y prime sa left side, and 2x at yung balhin sa pikas. So, negative 2x. So, y prime is simply, divide both side by 2y. So, we have here negative 2x over 2y. Cancel 2. So, y prime is simply negative x over y. And then, substitute 2 and 1. So, y prime is simply negative 2 over 1. Or simply, the slope of tangent is equals to negative 2. But now, the question is, we have to find the equation of the normal to the curve, or the this curve, which is a circle, at the point 2 to 1. So this is normal. So meaning, we have to get the negative reciprocal of this slope para maong gamito na itong slope for the normal line. So equals to negative 1 over the slope of your tangent. Equals to negative 1. Ang slope sa itong tangent is negative 2. So we have here positive 1 over 2. Now, use the same formula ganina sa standard form, point slope. We have here y minus y sub 1 is equals to m x minus x sub 1. So, y minus, ang y sub 1 na to is simply 1, and m is 1 half, or the slope of your normal. X minus, ang x sub 1 is 2. So, we cross multiply, we have here 2y minus 2 is equals to x minus 2. And then atong i-simplify. So we have here x minus negative x minus 2y. Kung ato lang ibalin sa right side, para din nata mag-multiply negative 1. So we have here x minus 2y. And then negative 2, ibutang diri, mahimo siyang positive 2. So negative 2 plus 2 equals to 0. So cancel negative 2 plus 2. So we have here x minus 2y is equals to 0. So meaning, this will be your equation of the normal line. Okay? So if you have question, you can comment or write down sa ato ang YouTube channel. Char. So another example. Okay, example number 6. So find the equation of the normal line to the parabola y equals to 4x squared at the point negative 1, 4. Okay, so same ra gihapon, we have to find the first derivative of this function. So y equals to 4x squared. Para makuha na itong slope, so we have y prime is equals to 2 times 4 is 8, and then 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have here 8x. And then substitute negative 1 to this equation. So y prime is simply 8 times negative 1 is equal to negative 8. But remember, nga kani siya nga first derivative is the slope of your tangent. So dapat dito malipat ani ha. So to get the slope of your normal line, we have to get the negative reciprocal of that slope. So m tangent, which is negative 8. So mahimo na lang siya positive 1 over 8. So using the point slope formula, so y minus y1 equals to m x minus x sub 1. So y minus, ang y sub 1 na to is pila? 4. And then ang slope na to, or the normal slope, is 1 over 8. x minus pila to ang x sub 1 or ma-positive na lang ni siya kay naman tayo negative 1 dere, di ba? So ma-plus 1. So i-simplify ato ning i-cross multiply, we have here 8y minus 4 times is 8. 8 minus 8 times 4 is 32, and then babilin is x plus 1. So ibalhin na to ang 8y dito dapita, so we have here x minus 8y plus 1 plus 32 equals to 0. So x minus 8y will be equal to plus 33 equals to 0. So that will be the equation of the normal line to the parabola y equals to 4x squared at the point negative 1 over 4. So this will be letter A. Okay? So I think maor na siya for today, but tomorrow we will have another discussion about the radius of the curvature and the maxima and minima, or the introduction of maxima and minima. Okay? So I hope namin nakatunan karon, and I hope nga practice daw another mga problems. Okay? So nara ko i-send ninyo mga practice problems to para ma-practicean ninyo this weekend. Okay? So thank you for listening, and goodbye.